셀봉이 재단 설봉 장학계를 위해 참석해 주신 여러분께 감사드리면서 이제 제29회 설봉 장학금 수여식을 시작하겠습니다. We will now begin the 29th SeolBong Scholarship Award Ceremony. So first of all, thank you all for being here for the 29th SeolBong Scholarship Award Ceremony by the Ryu Family Foundation. We will begin with the Korean national anthem. It will be sung by a 28th SeolBong scholar, Lee Eun-sung, and he is pursuing a doctoral degree in musical arts at Stony Brook University. Please keep yourself muted. And next, the president, Soo Ryu, will share a brief history of the foundation. I pass it off to you.
재단 설립에 대해 잠시 말씀드리겠습니다. 1994년 12월 29일, 29년 전에 유제도 회장님께서 유패밀리 재단을 설립하셨습니다. 재단 설립의 주 동기는 첫째, 저희 할아버지의 뜻을 이루시기를 원하셨습니다. 할아버지께서는 유씨 집안 아이들뿐만이 아니라 동네에 있는 아이들을 위하여 학교를 설립하셨습니다. 둘째는 아버지께서는 일본에서 고학하면서 고생하셨던 것이 계기가 되었습니다. 셋째는 아버지께서는 이민 생활하는 부모님들이 자금이 부족하여 자식들을 대학교에 보내는 것을 힘들어하는 것을 많이 보셨습니다. 무엇보다도 아버지께서는 소수민족으로 사는 한인들에게 교육이 큰 힘이 될 수 있다는 것을 믿으셨습니다. 이러한 동기로 재단이 설립이 되었습니다. 지금까지 재단에서 550명 이상의 학생들에게 장학금을 주고 총 100만 불이 넘는 장학금을 수여하고 있습니다.
맛있죠?
I'd like to share with you a brief background of this foundation. On December 29, 1994, 29 years ago, my late father founded a Ryu Family Foundation. His motivation of founding it were, first, to follow the footsteps of his father. My grandfather, he built a school to educate not only the children in his family, but also children in the village. Second, he also suffered financial difficulties while studying in Japan. He had to earn for living as well as his tuition on his own. Third, he saw many Korean Americans struggling to send their children to college, all due to financial difficulties. Most of all, he believed that a good education could empower Korean Americans living in the United States as minorities. The foundation was established with these motivations. As of today, we have awarded the scholarship to over 550 students, totaling more than $1 million in grant money. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ryu. Next, we would like to introduce to you the foundation's director and the president. Daniel Suh is the director of the selection committee. He is one of the late chairman's many grandchildren and has been a lifelong recipient of Jae Doo and Bong Ryu's wisdom and support. He is currently a doctoral candidate at the University of Georgia, studying the ecology and evolution of infectious diseases. Daniel has served the foundation for the past 5 years and recently joined the foundation's board. This year, he helped to organize the selection committee and the application review process for the SeolBong Scholarship. Daniel?
Hi, thanks for the introduction. I just wanted to briefly just thank all the selection committee. It's me, the president, Sue, and also an alumni, Dan Moon. So just want to give a special shout out to all of them for their help with selection this year. I just want to thank all the applicants who provided their applications as well. All of them were excellent, and we had a hard time choosing the recipients for this year. And I just want to also put in a plug for just alumni in the future. If you would consider helping out if we reach out about any volunteer opportunities, the foundation and the selection process really rely on the alumni for the organization. So please just keep that in mind in the future. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Daniel. Next is Mrs. Lee, director. She is the first daughter of the late chairman and joining us from Seoul, Korea. She has served the foundation for the last 3 years. Mrs. Lee?
Yeah. 29회 설봉 장학회 장학생이 된 거를 정말로 축하드리고 이 서울에 있으면서도 항상 아버님의 말씀을 기리고 또 장학생들도 우리 아버님의 그 좋은 정신을 이어받아서 후생들에게 또 도움이 되고 이익이 되는 장학생들이 됐으면 좋겠습니다. 축하드립니다. 감사합니다.
Thank you, Mrs. Lee. Next is Pastor Chul-woo Chung, director. Pastor Chung was the pastor at Korean Methodist Church and Institute in New York City from 2005 to 2012. Pastor Chung was previously a pastor in Seoul for many years, as well as in Madison, Wisconsin, and New Jersey. He has served the foundations for many years. Pastor Chul-woo Chung, please.
장학금을 받는 여러분께 축하를 드립니다.
Next, we have Soo Ryu, the president. Born in Seoul, South Korea, she is the fourth daughter of Bong Hang and the late chairman Jae Doo Ryu. Holding a master's degree in computer science from New York University, she has a diverse professional background, having worked as a programmer, analyst, and project manager in the telecommunications, financial, and internet industries. Currently, she is the founder of AHA Autonomy, a company passionately dedicated to helping organizations create a joyous working environment. She has served the foundation for almost 10 years, since the passing of the late chairman in 2014, and she currently serves as the president of the foundation. Ms. Ryu?
네, 준태, thank you for that introduction. And everybody, 29 SeolBong Scholars and also the parents, 축하드립니다. Congratulations to all of you.
Thank you. Next, we have SeolBong Hwang Isan-nim. Mrs. Ryu was born in Incheon, South Korea. In 1947, she married the late chairman, Jae Doo Ryu. She and her husband have been an early and enthusiastic supporter of the Korean American Youth Assistance Coalition and Korean American Heritage. She's been serving that foundation since its inception. Mrs. Ryu?
말해? 네. Yes. 말이 안 나오는데. 안 들리는데, 하도 안 들리는데.
네, 말씀해주세요. 네. Mrs. Ryu.
장학생 축하합니다. 축하합니다. 오케이.
네, 감사합니다. Next, please join me in welcoming back President Soo Ryu to speak about the foundation's mission.
이재두 회장님의 삶의 철학, 후손들에게 이 같은 진리를 가르치고 싶다. 신용을 지키며 정직하고 성실히 살면 사람과 돈은 따라오는 법. 신용이 곧 생명이다. The founder Jae Doo Ryu's philosophy. Live honestly, work diligently, and nourish credibility. People and money will naturally follow you. Credibility is the bloodline of life. Now, since his passing, the foundation's mission has been dedicated to instilling his philosophy in everyone who passed through our foundation. Today, we have the privilege of hearing from 2 of 29 SeolBong scholars. They will share stories about how they personally experienced the late chairman's philosophy in their lives. I'll turn it over to Juntae to introduce them to you.
Thank you. First, we have the pleasure of having Esther Dong. Esther is currently in her junior year studying jazz composition at the Berklee College of Music. Please join me in welcoming Esther.
Hi, I'm Esther Dong. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed members of Ryu Family Foundation and fellow scholars, today as I speak here, I'm reminded of a powerful truth. Education is both a privilege and a transformative journey. My path to Berklee has been driven not just by personal ambition, but by a deep-seated mission to make a difference through the universal language of music. Since my high school days, I have been committed to serving others through music. Music to me is more than a discipline. It is a medium to touch lives, to heal, and to connect. At Berklee, I am to delve into the depth of music composition and production, not just for academic excellence, but to further my ability to contribute meaningfully to society. I'm here today immensely grateful for the SeolBong Scholarship, which recognizes not just the financial aspect of education, but also the dedication and hard work of students like us. This scholarship is a testament to the power of hard work and perseverance. It's a motivation that pushes me to strive harder and reach further in my academic and musical endeavors. The ethos of the late chairman Jae Doo Ryu, as stated in his autobiography, deeply resonates with me. His principles of living with honesty, diligence, and the pursuit of credibility have profoundly influenced my approach to life and music. At Berklee, I have had the opportunity to put these values into action, especially in moments where community and integrity took precedence over personal gain. I recall a defining moment in my freshman year, faced with a choice between a prestigious personal opportunity and supporting a fellow musician better suited for the specific concert. I chose the latter. This decision, based on fostering collective success and meaningful relationships, taught me a valuable lesson about true success. It's not just in individual accomplishment, but in nurturing a community where everyone thrives. This experience has shaped my reputation at Berklee as a person who values integrity and community. It has opened doors to more significant opportunities and has reinforced my belief in the power of credibility and genuine relationship within my field. As I continue my journey at Berklee, I carry with me these values: dedication to excellence in music, a commitment to serving others, and a belief in the power of community. The Ryu Family Foundation does not just support my academic pursuit, it aligns with and bolsters these principles. It is an honor and a responsibility I embrace wholeheartedly. To the Ryu Family Foundation, thank you for believing in my potential and for supporting my journey. To my fellow students and musicians, let us continue to build a world where music is not just an art form, but a bridge connecting people, culture, and heart. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Esther, for that compelling speech. Next, we will have James Kim. James is in his third year studying medicine at Boston U. Chobanian and Avedisinian School of Medicine. Please join me in welcoming James.
Hi, thanks for the intro, Juntae. Once again, my name is James. I'm a third year med student from BU. I'm originally from New York, but first I'd like to give thanks to the Ryu Foundation for the wonderful scholarship and the opportunity to speak in front of you guys here today. As we all know, Chairman Ryu, he was an honorable man, and his life story of credibility and diligence is one that many of us can really learn from. I resonate deeply with these sentiments, and throughout my life and in my time in medicine so far, albeit short, I now truly understand the importance of building relationships through honesty. I realized that after talking with one of my patients who had a stroke and with like terminal diagnoses and lifelong conditions, that a lot of these patients aren't looking to come back like 100% normal. Instead, they just want to be heard and be told that their physician and their care team will not give up on them. Many patients in hospitals don't ever come back to the baseline, but what I've learned is that the happiest ones are the ones whose doctors and nurses sit down and listen to their experiences, their life stories, what their priorities were in terms of their healthcare, what their goals of care were. And they never cared about talking about their lab values, numbers, imaging. They always just wanted to be able to go back home and spend one last walk around their front yard or sit for one more meal with their loved ones. And I realized that that's where I found my love for rehabilitation, because a lot of these patients, they're at their worst, and I want to become a beacon of hope for them and build that credibility and that patient rapport with them and the long-term care, so that they know that someone else is listening and that someone else trusts in them. And I've also found that it's those physicians who understand the importance of prioritizing their patients' needs that are deemed the best in their fields and in the hospitals. And I found that with those physicians, the money and happiness also follow them too. And this is what Chairman Ryu's message means to me and how I'll continue to implement it in my career moving forward. Thanks.
Thank you, James, for that powerful speech. Finally, we will have a few words from President of the Foundation, Sue Ryu. Please join me in welcoming her back.
Esteemed guests and 29 SeolBong Scholars, today, as we gather to celebrate 29 SeolBong Scholars, I am honored to share with you the remarkable story of my father. Although he was not a millionaire by a conventional definition, he carried with him $1 million mission. My late father found success not just in business, but also in living a purpose-driven life. When my father came to the United States and started a footwear importer, he embarked on a journey with not just one, but two, a personal mission and a social mission. The personal mission was born out of a desire to provide for his family. You see, in Korea, my mother always had a housekeeper. But when they moved to the States, it was a different story. The newfound challenge became a catalyst for him, a driving force to succeed. Now, his second mission was much larger. He had much larger social mission that really drove him. His dream was to found a nonprofit organization dedicated to providing scholarship. He believed in the power of education and helping others in their academic pursuits. Now, his journey to establish this nonprofit organization was from his personal experiences. Although my grandfather believed in the power of education, he forbade my father to study abroad as his older sons tragically died while studying in Japan. He feared that his youngest son might face a similar destiny. But my father was defiant and ambitious. He wanted to be somebody, and he knew he needed a higher education to achieve his dream. Without support from his father, he had to earn a living and tuition on his own. Having experienced this at first hand, he understood the difficulties for those seeking education with a limited financial resource. So this became his mission, to found a nonprofit organization dedicated to providing scholarship. 28th SeolBong Scholars, my message to you is simple yet powerful. Just as my father had a mission that drove him, I encourage each of you to find a mission that drives you, that motivates you. Let your mission be the driving force in your life. Let it guide you like a beam from a lighthouse. Let it motivate you. Let it lead you. And as you embark on this mission, apply the principle rooted in my father's philosophy. Live honestly, work diligently, and nourish credibility. People and money will naturally follow you. Credibility is the bloodline of life. 신용을 지키며 정직하고 성실히 살면 사람과 돈은 따라오는 법. 신형이 곧 생명이다. These principles are not just words. They are the pillars that supported my father's journey, and they can be guiding light for you. In conclusion, SeolBong Scholars, let the stories of my father's million-dollar mission and his journey inspire each of you. Embrace your mission with passion and apply the principles that have stood the test of time. Thank you.
Thank you, President Su, for your inspirational speech. Before we introduce this year's scholarship recipients, we are privileged to hear a piece from a former scholarship recipient, Yoonbae Kim. Yoonbae has a master's degree in musical arts and violin performance at the Yale School of Music and has provided us with a pre-recorded piece that we would like to share with you all today. Yoonbae will be playing Elgar Salute d'Amour, a song that was composed in the late 1800s. Thank you, Yoonbae, for that wonderful piece. Next, the President Su Ryu will award the scholarship to this year's recipients. In order to properly celebrate together, we ask that all scholars please unmute their audio and keep their camera on. Please give a big round of applause to this year's SeolBong Scholars. President Su will call out the name of each recipient to congratulate them. Please respond with a word of thanks when your name is called.
Thank you, Juntae. A SeolBong Scholarship was awarded to following students in recognition of outstanding academic achievements and a deep understanding of founder Jae Doo Ryu's life philosophy rooted in honesty, diligence, and credibility. Han Ji-yoon Han, studying computational biology for an MD degree at Warren Albert Medical School of Brown University. 축하드립니다, 한지윤 씨.
Thank you very much for this opportunity, and this will definitely help pursue my medical degree and to become a future physician. So thank you again.
축하드립니다, 한지윤 씨. Jennifer Hong, studying medicine for an MD degree at SUNY Downstate College of Medicine. 축하드립니다, 한지윤 씨.
Hi, thank you for this award. It was an honor to have been selected.
네, 감사합니다. 김윤재, James Kim, studying medicine for an MD degree at Boston University of Medicine. 축하드립니다.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
김석주, Joshua Kim, studying molecular biology for an MD degree at Weill Cornell Medical College. I had to pronounce molecular a couple of times before this. 김석주 씨 축하드립니다.
네, 감사합니다. It's a huge privilege and an honor to be here. 네, 그 분자 생물학이 molecular인데 이게 발음이 힘들어가지고요. I think it's an honor to be here.
Yeah, I'm not the only one, huh? 축하드립니다. 임지원, Lina Lim, studying public health for a MPH degree at George Washington University. 축하드립니다, 임지원 씨.
Thank you so much.
박강규, Charles Park, studying nurse anesthesia for DNB degree at Columbia University.
네, 감사합니다. Thank you for this incredible honor. It's very humbling to be amongst so many bright young minds and talented individuals, and so it's an incredible honor to be here today. Thank you for the award.
Thank you so much. 우승민, 승민우, studying medicine for an MD degree at Warren Albert Medicine School of Brown University. 우승민 씨 축하드립니다.
네, 이렇게 귀한 장학금을 주셔서 너무 감사합니다. Thank you so much and congrats to the other students. 나원윤, studying social science for an MA degree at Columbia University. 윤나원 씨 축하드립니다.
Thank you. I would first like to thank the Ryu Family Foundation for the scholarship opportunity. I think it's important to embrace our heritage and give back to our community and the younger generation. I'll continue to make a positive impact. Thank you.
감사합니다. Now we go into undergraduate. 동성문, Esther Dong, studying jazz composition for an BM degree at Berklee College of Music. 축하드립니다.
Thank you for granting me this honor. I will continue to work hard and with a grateful and humble heart. Thank you so much.
감사합니다. 다빈 항, studying classical cello for BM degree at Manhattan School of Music. 축하드립니다.
감사합니다. Thank you so much.
정성왕, Sean Jung, studying international political economy for an BA degree at Fordham University. 축하드립니다.
Thank you. I just want to quickly say that I'm committed to making the most of this scholarship, and I hope to one day give it back to the community that has generously invested in my future. Thank you for believing in me and providing this stepping stone towards my academic and professional aspirations. Thank you.
감사합니다. 김예나, Rebecca Kim, studying exercise science for BA degree at Rutgers University of New Brunswick. 축하드립니다.
Yeah.
I want to thank everyone from the Ryu Family Foundation for providing me this opportunity to further my academic goals. It's a huge honor here, and although I am a little nervous for what may come next in my life, I know that with this organization's generous gift, I will be able to build a strong foundation for my future career. So thank you again.
감사합니다. 김지선, Sharon Kim, studying finance for BS degree at Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania. 김지선 씨 축하드립니다.
Thank you so much for this scholarship, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity to freely pursue my educational and academic interests. And I'm very grateful for the Ryu Family Foundation because I really believe that a lot of the missions and values that they share is making a lot of students' futures brighter. Thank you.
감사합니다. Last but not the least, 노기훈, Parker Law, studying computer science for BA degree at Cornell University. 축하드립니다, 노기훈 씨.
Thank you to the Ryu Family Foundation and the selection committee for this wonderful opportunity. 감사합니다.
That concludes this year's 29th SeolBong Scholars. 축하드립니다, everyone.
Please join me again in congratulating all of this year's SeolBong Scholars. Next, we are honored to have Dr. Richard Park. Dr. Park is a managing partner and the co-founder of Ascend Partners, a private equity partnership focused on healthcare. He's also the founder and former CEO of CityMD, a leading urgent care company. He received his BS in economics from the Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania and an MD from Albert Einstein College of Medicine. Dr. Park has an extensive 20-plus year background in medicine. He's a board-certified emergency medicine physician and serves on multiple boards across various health organizations. Clearly an impressive man. Please join us in welcoming him with a round of applause.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jante, for that introduction. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. I'm having some AV technical challenges for some reason. But congratulations to all the scholarship winners and congratulations to the entire foundation for really, because everyone has a story, but like some of you, I want to share my Korean American story because I was born here in Flushing. I was born in Flushing Hospital. I lived here in America all my life. I've only been to Korea 3 times in my entire life. So if I could share my story, as it may be relatable to you as you go forward. So much like you guys, born in Flushing Hospital, lived here all my life in New York, married over 27 years. I have 2 boys. I have a 25-year-old and a 22-year-old. That defines me. My wife, Myungjin, she came here when she was 14, and so she keeps me grounded. My 2 boys are both autistic. So both my children are autism. My younger one is nonverbal. And as I'll share, this defines a lot of who we are and what we do. I spent 10 years in the ER. I worked as an ER doc. And when my children were diagnosed with autism, I wanted to open up a little store because that's what Koreans do in New York. We're merchants, right? We're merchants in New York. And so I wanted to open a store. And as an ER doc that's Korean, I opened up an urgent care. And so I ended up doing urgent care and kind of being dragged along. So I started and founded CityMD. And in 2019, I'd left, still as the largest shareholder, but after merging and acquiring Summit Medical Group in New Jersey, I had left. And my other Korean partner, Insun, Hung In-sun, and we started a private equity firm that invests in healthcare called Ascend Partners. And so last year, we invested over $1 billion in healthcare firms. In-sun, interesting enough, and being Korean is a big part of who we are, what we do, right? He's a native of Philadelphia. He also went to undergrad Wharton, like you, Sharon, at Penn. And he ended up being the head of global healthcare and retail at Warburg Pincus. Warburg Pincus is the oldest private equity firm in the country and one of the largest private equity firms in the world. And so he was a C-suite member, and we both left at the same time. He and I went to college together. And so we went to college together. We went to church together. I've known him for over close to 30 years. So fast forward, Flushing. I grew up in Flushing, and many of you guys may be familiar with Carlisle Towers or Skyline Towers. So I grew up in Casino Boulevard. We lived in Carlisle for a few years, and then we moved to Skyline Towers. Now, Skyline Towers is, for those of you who don't know, is 27 stories, 2 buildings, like twin towers, and in between is like a playground. And for some reason, when I was growing up, a complete anomaly. Like there were 35 Korean kids my age, plus or minus, like complete anomaly, right? 2 years younger, 2 years above. In that 4-year span, 35 kids. So in Flushing, when you were born, what happens is every time, maybe it's different now, but every Korean kid and Korean family's dream when I was growing up is to open up a dry cleaner or open up a fruit store or a deli, and then buy a house and then move east to Long Island. That's the dream, right? Bayside, Douglaston, Long Island. And so one by one, everybody moves east, which is why I live in Long Island today. Because once in my mind, if you make it, you move east to Long Island. Don't do that. Move to New Jersey, move to Rockland County. Don't get stuck on this island. Anyway, so guess who was the last to leave? Me. One by one, everyone left. And the last kid to leave when I was 26 was me, right? And so that feeling of being left behind. Now, it's hardly a abandonment story. Many people have real abandonment stories, but that's my version of abandonment story. And so everyone left. Korean dramas. You guys watch Korean dramas, right? And Korean movies. It's so popular now. And typically, I don't have to explain to you guys, but the typical theme is, most dramas, 90% of dramas, man meets woman, they fall in love, and then they get separated for some angst reason. And 20 episodes later, after near misses, they finally get together, they get married, and what happens? The woman gets cancer and dies. And then the man is staring out into the beach, right? And he's crying. And all the Koreans watch that ending and go, wow, perfect ending. Right? And our American friends go, what the heck? What's wrong with this? Every Korean movie ends like this. That's because that's what we are familiar with. That's the Korean Hanmechin story, right? We are familiar with that, which is why people in abusive relationships always go back to what they're familiar with, which is why when Koreans don't have a fly in their ointment, what are we going to do? We're going to find a fly in our ointment and put it inside. We're going to sabotage ourselves because we're familiar with sadness. We're familiar with hard work. We're familiar with things not working the way we had planned, right? I grew up in a church called NYPC, New York Tanugye, right? It's still in Long Island City now, but when it was founded, I was born into it. We were in Woodside and Elmhurst, and that's where Koreans were at that time. And then we eventually moved from Flushing to back to Woodside and now in Long Island City. And so when I was growing up, it had about 3,000 members at one point. And you guys, I don't know, maybe some of you have attended. But when I was growing up, Yujang had 3,000 members at its peak. I had left. I left my family. We left about 23 years ago. And again, this is not a church story, but because I spend a lot of time in LA now for work. In LA, you have a real Koreatown. It's huge. It's massive, right? In New York, and maybe New Jersey, our Koreatowns are our churches. That's kind of who raised us, and that's our version of Koreatown. But anyway, I had left because all the young Korean kids, we think we know better. I was 30 at the time. We thought we know better, and all these adults, they don't know what they're talking about. We have to go out and separate and do our own thing. And so, right, common story over and over again. So anyway, we had left, and 22 years later, I come back, and now the church is 500 members. much smaller. Not only that, the largest group in our church, the dominant group is 육성교회. 육성교회 is 80 years old. You have to be 80 years old to be a part of this group. If you're 79, you don't make the cut, right? You're too young at 79, 80 and above. And I go back, and many of these people are the adults that had raised us, right? They had nothing. They literally had nothing. And if you were Korean and you were working class Korean in Elmhurst and Woodside, you were a working stiff, right? And they built this church with hard worked, I mean, to the bones, dollars that they made for a church that they loved and people that they loved. So these are the people that raised us, and half of them have passed. And they're hunched over. Some of them are still working, right? And if you are still at NYPC when I got back, life has not been what you thought it was, right? Everyone left Skyline Towers one by one because your dreams are getting better. At NYPC, if you're still there, life was not what you thought it was going to be. Life was hard. On the other side of the age spectrum, we have these 8, 9-year-olds. They were 8, 9-year-olds when I left. Now they're 30 when I came back. And, you know, growing up there, and I recognize many of the kids, they're much younger, so I don't, but I recognize the kids, and I remember who their parents were, and I remember which moms were single, who had it hard, you know, which dads beat the moms and domestic abuse. I mean, you just know, many of you guys may know this and maybe experienced it, right? Many of our Korean families have done that. And so there's like a handful of kids that I knew when they were 8, 9 years old. And I loved them in ways that they don't understand because I saw them as children, kids. They look at me, they don't even recognize who I am, but I see them and I love them because I saw them when they were kids. If they're still here at NYPC, especially the girls, a lot of it is there because life is hard. A lot of it's mental illness, right? A lot of mental illness. They couldn't escape and leave. Salmon comes back home, right? They leave and somehow they know to come back home because they know the electrolytes. I don't know how they do it, but water, electrolytes, the sense of direction, they come back home. And that's how I feel, right? Having left this community and forgotten, going out and drinking stupid fancy wines with my friends, right? And having them watch art collections and wine cellars, and coming back home to see this, it's a realization. My father was recently diagnosed. Hopefully you can still hear me. Okay, good. I'm back. That's the reason why I doubled down on this. So my father was recently diagnosed, he's in his late 80s, diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And so I go to, you know, for the past decades, he's been going to morning prayer service, 새벽기도, right? He goes to 새벽기도, and I've been going with him recently. They wake up 5 in the morning, they service at 6 to 7. And I went there recently. I've never seen so much flannel and hoodies in church before. Because as you know, after service, they go to work. Right? After service, they're going to work. And they're praying desperately there, not because life is so good. In fact, if life is good, they're not there. If life is bad and you're desperate, they're there on their knees. So there's 100 of them, and they're all ages, but mostly like 50 to 90. That's the age group. And I learned something that day, you know, when I went back. You know, and when you guys learn something, you're going to go out to college and you're going to learn a few things. You're going to learn a lot, right? You're going to learn, and when you learn things, you get bigger, better, smarter, and brighter, right? When you learn something, your eyes open and you learn something. There's a Korean word, as you guys know, 깨달아, right? Not just 배워, but 깨달아, right? I realized something. When I sat there, very proud man, came back, I realized, a felt realization. And this realization is not like learning where you open your eyes and you're better. It made me close my eyes and my head went down as I realized, wow. Realized that this is home. I had forgotten what home was. I went around thinking that I learned something, became something, knew better. And I sat there and I looked at all these older people. I'm in my 50s, right? But those are adults. I'm still a child right there. And they've lived 20 to 30, 40 years. Complete. And I sat there, I realized the humility, I know nothing. These people have lived a life of long suffering, of integrity and hard work, not for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, when everything is hopeful and looking up, because that's easy. When things are looking hopeless, there's no hope. I can only live for my children, and I can only look to eternity. That's a different type of strength. They have a strength that I know nothing about. That was the realization. And so I would say, you guys are going to go out and learn amazing things. You're going to have to learn your journey. You're going to have to go out, drink your wine, and go to your Harvards and do all those amazing things. You're going to do that. You can tell. But some of you may find and realize that coming home is important. We are familiar. It's going to feel, don't forget, you're going to come back and like, this is home. These are my people. You are uniquely qualified to care for your people. So even as one born here, that's a realization I've had recently I'd like to share with you. And when I'm 60, when I'm 70, when I'm 80, I'll have different things to share, as will you. And so with this, congratulations to the entire group. It's my privilege to speak to you. Thank you so much, President Ryu, as well as everyone on the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Richard Park, for that very inspirational and grounded remark. Next, we are honored to have Pastor Chung, who has supported the foundation for many years. He studied at Korea Methodist Theological University, NBTS near Chicago, and NYTS in New York. He was ordained as a pastor in the Methodist Church and spent 10 years in Korea, 40 years in the United States, and at the Korean Church in New York, which was founded in 1921. He retired in 2012. He served as the chairman of the Hung Saran Committee in the Americas and is currently devoted to the study of Yu Kwan-sun and Korean history and is the author of the book Letters of Christ, which is a collection of 365-day sermons. Please join us in welcoming back Pastor Chung.
제가 여러분에게 말씀드리고 싶은 거는 이 보이는 스칼라십하고 보이지 않는 스칼라십 두 가지가 있는데 보이는 스칼라십은 여러분들이 money 받는 겁니다. 그러나 보이지 않는 스칼라십은 고 유재두 회장님이 가졌던 정직하고 성실한 것이었습니다. 근데 이것을 저는 여러분들이 돈보다도 money보다도 이 유재두 회장님의 정직과 그 성실, 그 스칼라십을 받기를 바랍니다. 왜냐하면은 여러분 받은 돈은 그 스칼라십 이 돈은 학비로 끝이 납니다. 그러나 이 유재두 회장님의 가졌던 정직과 성실은 이것은 영구의 여러분 생애와 같이 라이프와 같이 갈 겁니다. 유재두 회장님이 이렇게 좋은 스칼라십을 만든 것은 돈보다도 그의 정직성과 책임감을 통해서 이 스칼라십을 만든 겁니다. 그렇기 때문에 여러분도 이 보이지 않는 invisible scholarship 이것을 여러분들이 받으셔서 앞으로 여러분들이 성장하고 성공할 때 유재두 회장님과 같은 이런 스칼라십을 여러분도 만들고 창출해서 여러분도 스칼라십 학생들을 많이 모집하고 줄 수 있게 되기를 바랍니다. 바로 유재두 회장님이 한 것과 같이 여러분도 할 수 있게 되기를 바랍니다. 감사합니다. 이상입니다.
감사합니다, 장 목사님. Next, we will be hearing a piece from one of our very own talented scholarship recipients, Tabin Huang. Tabin is in her third year pursuing classical cello at the Manhattan School of Music and has provided us with a pre-recorded piece that we would like to share with all of you today. She will be playing The Swan by Camille Saint-Saëns, a song that was composed in the late 1800s as well. Thank you, Tabin, for that riveting performance. Now, please join us in welcoming back Dan Moon. Dan is a senior UX researcher currently working for the Chamberlain Group, a tech company that specializes in smart home appliances. He holds a BA from the College of Worcester and an MS from Cornell University. As a reminder, he was the one that was doing the pre-ceremony activities and the one that sang that song in the beginning. In 2018, he received the SeolBong Scholarship and has since then been a contributing member in the review process for applicants. In the past, he has also emceed for this ceremony. His main hobby is singing, but he is also currently writing a book about what makes a successful long-term relationship that addresses how social media has essentially poisoned the well. Please welcome Dan.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for this opportunity and the time that we share to be here today. And again, I'd like to congratulate all the recipients for their awards, is kind of speak about the challenges and the struggles that I faced as well, and just kind of how I overcame them. But I'm going to do this in third person. So our story begins with a kid who likes to make videos. He goes to college, and he decides to pursue a neuroscience degree of all things. His goal was to complete the pre-med track in order to kind of pave the way for medical school and try to accomplish even a fraction of the greatness that his grandfather did. 차철환. To put it simply, his grandfather was a giant in the field of preventive medicine and environmental health. I mean, I'm going to read off his titles right now. So it's like 서울대학교 보건소장, 서울대학교 교수, 고려대학교 교수, 고려대학교 환경의 학연 구소장, 고려대학교 보건전문대학장, 대한예방의 학회장, 대한보건협회장, 환경보건학회장, 한국대기. It just goes on and on. Like, I'm telling you, like, this guy was huge. We had like a shelf in our house that was literally just filled to the brim, and pictures of him giving awards to other people too. So to say the least, like, I had some pretty big shoes to kind of fill. At least that's what I self-imposed. So the story goes, he was a prestigious doctor, professor, and the president, like the head of the society or something like that. And just all these awards that are just like global awards. Like, he was like a globally renowned doctor. And so there was just this huge sort of like a pressure, if you will, for me to kind of like live up to that. But it wasn't anything that they imposed on me. That's the thing. Like, I know some of you may have, felt like some pressures from your own family to kind of accomplish greatness, but they never really did that to me. It was more of like self-imposed. So this whole story is going to be really just about exploring and finding out like your identity. And this is my personal take on this. So anyway, the kid looked up to his grandfather and wanted to be like him. But the epiphany that he had was that he needed to move forward in his own way. Otherwise, he would just be spending his whole life trying to escape, the shadow of his grandfather. So that was the hard truth that he had to swallow before renouncing the path to medicine. And this happened like a month before he graduated from college. So it was pretty tough. I mean, imagine being unemployed, spending years preparing for a future that doesn't even come true, feeling lost because you spend too much energy playing video games until 3 o'clock in the morning, like staring at the ceiling, wondering what you're going to do with your life. However, imagine never losing hope. And he was able to secure an internship with a neurosurgeon before he decided to forego that path to medicine, even though this isn't what he wanted to do, which was the internship, because he's not in that field anymore. He performed his best, and the neurosurgeon shook hands with him to start on a project where they would try to construct some sort of virtual reality environment as an alternative treatment method for patients dealing with chronic pain. The project required a high-end computer, so he was able to receive one on the condition that he applied to graduate school. And applying to graduate school can be pretty difficult, especially if you don't have any relationships with the school itself. And so this kid literally cold emailed a bunch of university professors at the various Ivy League institutions, because I mean, like, why not? If I'm going to be putting this effort, or if he's going to be putting this effort, just go big or go home was the sort of motto, if you will. And surprisingly, one actually replied. And this particular institution was located in Ithaca, New York, and it's Cornell University. The intro earlier kind of gave it away, but this is a story about how I essentially was able to be admitted. So the professor asked like what kind of work that the kid was up to, and maybe if he could see some sort of demo. And remember, this kid liked to make videos. So he made a video demonstration, and it was a success. The professor introduced him to another one, and that just kind of caused a chain reaction to another professor, and so on and so forth. And one said that if this person was serious, then the kid would have to go and show up in person to actually meet people there. But the thing was, the kid was in California, so he had to find a way to just go over there, to fly over there, meet professors, and he made it happen. So he was blown away by the campus, first of all. Highly recommend visiting there. He remembers closing his eyes and breathing in the fresh air, thinking that this might be the last time he gets to be here ever. Yeah, it was a very surreal moment to just even be in that position to begin with. Because like you imagine just feeling like you're a complete loser, like I said, playing video games until 3 o'clock in the morning. So just this whole opportunity felt like it was almost too good for me in a sense. But anyway, after submitting his application, he left to visit Korea. And during his time there, his application was rejected, but there was still light at the end of the tunnel. Initially, he applied for a PhD position, and they said that if he wanted to be considered for the pool of applicants for a master's degree, though, he could do so, and he had 48 hours to respond. He saw this email 3 weeks after the fact, so that's like 456 hours after the deadline, and you can imagine the sense of dread that he had. It was as if sand was slipping through your fingers. But, however, imagine never losing hope. And so he wrote back and he included a Darth Vader meme, you know, like the one where he finds out that Padme's dead and he goes like, no. And a short video clip of himself kind of like pressing against the window in grief with the song All By Myself by Celine Dion playing in the background. It was just a meme. But he sent him that, and the following week he received his acceptance letter. So I left out a big chunk of this story, and it was that he created a YouTube channel with the express interest of becoming a big brother figure to struggling adolescents. He wanted to be someone who stood out against the vicious cycle of toxicity in online communities by gathering a following of people who would promote the virtuous cycle. He created videos himself playing video games to familiarize his audience with his personality, told stories about his life, and even made tutorials about being a morally strong person. And his catchphrase was, keep it positive. And although he was never really big, he did submit a video to a YouTube giant for a contest. He created a video of himself rapping in Swedish about the purpose of his channel and how he intended to accomplish his goal. And interestingly enough, his video was selected and it aired on PewDiePie's channel where it accumulated over 12 million views. And he achieved his 15 seconds of fame at the same time he received his acceptance letter to Cornell, where he would study human factors and then, you know, go on to be like a normal person. We'll just put it that way. But even still, it was in the realm of technology, and it was something that he was truly passionate about and interested in pursuing. So this is where I would like to close this story. And rest assured, there were many more challenges and struggles that had to be overcome. But it was through these experiences that this kid became a man. He followed his talents and his interests, never lost hope, and most importantly, focused on helping others along the way. And I ask that you do the same. So right now, you're kind of in a transition phase, if you will, where you're studying and you're learning. Who knows what will happen? You may decide to pivot just the same way that I did. If you decide to go forward and for it, then more power to you. But if you're maybe struggling with some dark times yourself, it's easy to forget that those dark times will pass. So please, I implore you to keep it positive. And thank you.
Thank you, Dan, for that down-to-earth speech. Finally, as we near the end of today's ceremony, we would like to leave you all with a final piano performance by a 28th SeolBong Scholar, Lee Ye-sul, or Julie Lee, from Manhattan School of Music. She has provided us with a pre-recorded piece that we'll be playing with you all today, Chopin Etude Op. 10, number 8. Thank you, Julie, for that really powerful performance. Finally, President Sue has a few parting remarks to share with you all.
Thank you, Juntae. Let's give a big round of applause for Juntae for emceeing it today. So well. Well done. So Juntae is a 28th SeolBong Scholar, and he finished his bachelor's degree in Asian Study and Korean at the Penn State University last year. He is fluent in both English and Korean. If you ever need help with Korean, I suggest that you reach out to him. Thank you, Juntae, for volunteering and also emceeing it today. Thank you so much. Now, we are currently considering to have an in-person event either this fall or next summer. Main motivation for this is for twofold. First is to create a space where SeolBong scholars like yourself to network together. Since we hold this award ceremony virtually, and especially it's done in wintertime, the weather and all this related, it seems like it's working, but like it's nothing like meeting in person. So we want to provide an opportunity for you to meet other scholars in person, and so that you can build a relationship. And also another thing is that, and we're gonna invite not just 29s, but all the SeolBong scholars, so that you can meet other scholars as well. Second is to grow and sustain this foundation for many generations to come. So we will need a lot of help. So we ask you to consider volunteering to make this event as a success. Your support will be very, very invaluable. Now, we will send you a package next week. In it, there will be my dad's book, autobiography book, this book, you see. And also Reverend Jang 목사님's book. He wrote a book about Yugansun. So he's, I don't know whether a lot of you know who Yugansun is. She's a young girl who fought for the freedom of Korean during the Japanese occupation. So thank you so much, 장 목사님, for donating these books to us. Once again, congratulations to all the 29 SeolBong scholars and the parents as well. And thank you so much, Dr. Richard Park, for sharing your stories and also sharing your perspective of your view of the life at different stages of life. You're right. We all go through different things. I did not know that a lot of Korean soap drama ends with the main heroine or the wife or whoever dies having a cancer. But do you remember Love Story? It was also like that. That was not a Korean story, right? So, and thank you so much for sharing and being here, and really, really appreciate your talk, inspiring talk. And also thank you so much for thank you all for attending today's ceremony, and I hope this was insightful to some degree and as enjoyable for you as well. And all the performance was so beautiful, and we are collecting those things because these are all SeolBong scholars, and their performance is so superb. So now I'll turn it over to Juntae for group photo and to end the ceremony.
Great, thank you. So before we end the ceremony, we would like to take our group photo. Basically, everyone needs to keep their camera on and smile. And on 3, we will do the whiting pose with the fist raised like this. I'll count down from 3, and then when we do it, please hold it so the person that's taking the screenshot can do that. All right, is everyone ready? 1, 2, 3. Whiting. Screenshot.
Yeah, we got it.
All right, great. Thank you. Thank you all for attending today, and congratulations again to all of our 29th SeolBong Scholars. This now concludes today's ceremony. We hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and please join me again in a final round of applause for this year's awardees.
Maybe we all unmute and I don't know. What do we say? Something nice, 설봉?
We can do that.
축하드립니다.
So everyone please unmute, and on 3 we can all say SeolBong. All right?
Or Happy New Year.
Or
in
or
January. We are still in January, right?
Yes.
축하드립니다. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Happy New Year.